Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is going to be part number 2 to my teen mom story. So if you have not yet seen part number 1, I will have it linked in the description box below. Part 1 ended with a miscarriage, but what happened next, I'm about to tell you. After my miscarriage, I was completely devastated. I was heartbroken. The thought of another child just sent me into panic. I did not want another child at the time. 2 weeks after my miscarriage, I was pregnant again. And there is something so different about planning a pregnancy and being unexpectedly pregnant. Like, you're prepared for it, you're expecting it. My husband was with me when I took the test, so again, I couldn't do any kind of special pregnancy reveal to him or anything like that, but we did do a very special pregnancy announcement and gender reveal. We actually took a piece of ribbon and we tied it around my stomach, and we did a super cute little DIY photo shoot. We ended up sending the picture to all of our close family, and we posted it on social media for our friends to see. And I feel like after you have your first child, the second, third, fourth, fifth, however many you have after that, they're not as exciting. People aren't as excited, well, at least in my world, the people aren't that excited. I don't think we had a baby shower. You know what, maybe I did have a baby shower. I have it written down in my son's baby book. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we had a baby shower. I can't remember who was there. I can't remember where it was or who came. I'm sure it wasn't too many people, because at this point, so many people had dropped out of our life. They didn't want anything to do with us, any part in this teen pregnancy that I was going through again. But that's okay. My husband had actually gotten a second job, so he was not only working at Albertsons, but he was also working at Walmart, and he was making a few dollars more at Walmart, so he ended up quitting Albertsons and just stuck with Walmart. And I continued working at McDonald's throughout my entire pregnancy, and I also believe that that played a part in how much weight I gained, because I think I gained close to 50 or 60 pounds with this pregnancy. Yeah, something like that. I got to 175, and that is the heaviest weight I have ever been at. It was Valentine's Day of 2015 that my husband and I got married. I was kind of bummed at first because I was 8.5 or 9 months pregnant. I was due in 4 weeks, so it was hard finding a dress, but I did end up finding a dress. And my face was really swollen, and we had been together for 3 years already. We were about to have our second child, and we wanted to be married before we brought this new baby into the world. All of our close friends and family were there, with the exception of a few. And it was just a really special day. Something I won't forget is during the ceremony, when my husband was going to put the ring on my finger, he actually dropped it, and it rolled halfway across the room, and everybody just started laughing. It was so funny. About a week before I was due, I had to stop working because my legs were getting so swollen. I just could not take it anymore, so I ended up going on my maternity leave, and at this point, we didn't have enough money saved up. We were struggling to pay bills, so we ended up moving in with my dad into his trailer, and it wasn't the best option, but we really had nowhere else to go. Once we moved in, it was about a couple days after we moved in, I was so uncomfortable. I was so swollen. My face was so puffy. I could hardly even do anything during the day because my body ached so bad. I had gained so much weight. So I looked up every possible way to naturally induce my labor. We tried the jumping jacks. We tried bumpy rides. I remember we went on a late night ride and we went over so many bumps, and at the time I didn't feel a difference. I didn't think it was working. When we got home from that, I made some Velveeta cheese shells and I doused it in Tabasco sauce. It was so hot and so disgusting, but I ate it all anyways. After that, we had tried nipple stimulation, and I am not going to explain it. If you want to Google it, you can. And I also read about castor oil, but a lot of things online said that it was very dangerous for the baby. So an alternative that I also read was that you can just take it and rub it on your lower belly, and it's supposed to like work or something, I don't know, but I gave up trying. I was like, forget this, I'm going to bed, it's late at night. So my husband and I had gone to bed, and during the night I knew I was feeling pain, but I just didn't wake up from it. So I did wake up at 7 a.m. and I felt a ton of cramps, and I woke my husband up and I was like, no, we have to go to the hospital. I think I'm in labor, because with my first pregnancy I was induced, so I didn't know what like coming onto your own labor felt like. Plus I still had a week until I was due. Actually, I think it was like 4 or 5 days. So we go out and we tell my dad, like, we're going to the hospital, we are going now. And my dad informs me that in the middle of the night he heard me crying, but he didn't want to go wake me up. He didn't know what was going on. So that explains the pain. Before we went to the hospital, which was 45 minutes away from my house, we had to go drop my first son off with the babysitter, and the only option we had was my sister. She was a senior in high school, so she was on her way to high school, and she ended up staying home to watch my son. And on our way to the hospital, we were about halfway there. There was a ton of traffic. The pain started coming on so bad. I didn't think we were gonna make it to the hospital. Like, 1 minute I was able to deal with the little cramps, and as soon as we got there, it was just unbearable. We get into the hospital, we go up to the 2nd or 3rd floor. I can't remember which one it was, but they're having us check in. They're trying to have me stand there and sign all kinds of papers, and I am just in so much pain I could hardly stand. I had to keep stopping from signing all the papers to just lay my head down on the table and breathe. Finally, after them watching me try to sign these papers in pain for about 5 minutes, they decided to go check and see if I was dilated. I don't know if they thought that I was lying or exaggerating my pain, but when they checked me, I was 7.5 centimeters, and they were practically like, oh crap. So they rushed me into a room. I don't even think they were fully done preparing the room, but they got me in there anyways. They hurried up and they shoved the IV in. I remember is I was in so much pain, crying, asking them, when can I get the epidural? Can I get the epidural right now? I'm in so much pain. And the nurse told me it was too late for an epidural. She told me I was going to deliver naturally whether I wanted to or not. And I just started bawling. I was so scared. I did not want to do that at all, but I knew I had to. So as I'm sitting here bawling my eyes out, I can barely even see. My eyes have so much water in them. She's having me try to finish signing these papers, and I'm just like literally scribbling lines on the papers. I don't even know if I'm signing it where I'm supposed to be signing it, but as soon as she gets there, I think I delivered him probably like 5 pushes after that. And I remember when I was pushing, it hurt so bad. It was the worst pain I ever felt in my life. I wanted it to be over. Like, I was about to pass out because I had no more energy left. And again, the nurses were screaming at me, telling me I needed to push, even though I physically couldn't. Like, I couldn't do it anymore. Finally, I couldn't push anymore. So one nurse was over here, one nurse was over here, and they were pulling my legs back so far to try to like force him to come out. But I guess he was upside down. I think they call it sunny side up or something, but it's where his face is at the top and it's supposed to be like facing the bottom so they can come out easier, and it was facing up. So I was pushing and pushing, no energy, and he got stuck. The worst thing that probably could have happened in the moment was him to get stuck. Everybody started freaking out because they wanted me to push and I couldn't, and he was stuck. Like, his head was like coming out, or his head was out but his shoulders wouldn't come out, and I couldn't push anymore. So I remember the nurses just had my legs pulled back and they were like putting all their pressure onto them, like to the side. I thought they were about to break my legs, and I was crying, telling them that it was hurting me, and they told me that they were going to break my leg if that's what it took to get the baby out. So I'm sitting here bawling the entire time, and the nurses are yelling at me, telling me to stop crying because I need to save my energy to push this baby out. And I couldn't stop crying. I was begging these nurses to kill me, and I know it sounds silly and like, oh my gosh, you were over exaggerating, which I probably was, but I was so scared. I was, how old was I think it was 18 when I delivered him. Was I 18? Maybe I was 17. I don't know. But anyways, so not only did they not give me an epidural, but they also didn't give me any type of pain medication. They just kept telling me that it was too late. And I was like, whatever. So it was only like 20 minutes after I had gone to the hospital that I had to start pushing, because I went from 7.5 centimeters to 10 centimeters in 10 minutes. And my doctor wasn't even at the hospital yet. So the nurses are having me push, and I'm pushing and I'm pushing, and it hurts so bad because I don't have anything for the pain. I wasn't prepared for this, and I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, these nurses are about to deliver my baby. And the nurses were being so rude to me, so I did not want them delivering my baby. Like, no. The doctor ended up having to like do some little magical hand tricks and pull him out, and as soon as they got him out, they put him on my chest for literally a second, and then they realized he was blue, and they thought that they had broken his arm when they got him out because his arm was like limp kinda and purple. So they immediately took him away, they cleaned him up and stuff, and I remember they were rushing him to the NICU, and I told my husband he needed to go with the baby, even though he wanted to stay with me, because I was so pale and I looked like I was dying. I was exhausted. As soon as the baby came out, I thought I was going to pass out. I felt like I was about to fall asleep right there, and the only reason I think I didn't was because I was worried about the baby. I had no idea what was wrong with him. So I'm laying there, and as soon as they take the baby out of the room, I was sleeping. And I remember while I was sleeping or trying to sleep, they were stitching me up because I did have a 3rd-degree tear and I needed an episiotomy. I remember it hurt, but it didn't hurt as much as the labor that I just went through. So I just continued sleeping, and they cleaned up my whole bed and my whole room and everything. I continued sleeping. I think I woke back up when the baby came back into the room, and they told me that he was okay. They just wanted to monitor him, monitor his oxygen and stuff. So he had all kinds of tubes and weird things all over his body. It was kind of freaky, but anyways, anyways, they wanted me to get up and go to the bathroom, and I told them I was not ready. I didn't have to go to the bathroom. I didn't want to go to the bathroom. I didn't have any energy to go to the bathroom, but they made me anyways. So I make it to the bathroom, and as soon as I sit down, I blacked out. I blacked out and I fell on the nurse, and I think everybody in the room just started freaking out. I remember she shoved like a little alcohol pad or something in front of my nose to make me like snap back into it. And as soon as I opened my eyes, every like person in the room, every doctor, every nurse was rushing into the bathroom, and I was like, oh my gosh, what just happened to me? I did not have a clue. And the first words that came out of my mouth were, I told you I wasn't ready. And I said it with the most attitude. What is it?
What's are these for?
Where did you find it?
In my bathroom, in the front of the toilet. It's been under my blue bag set. What
is this? He just brought me these out of his bathroom.
What?
Why are these in your bathroom?
That's why.
Go put them in the sink. I remember as soon as the baby came back into the room, my best friend had came and she was there to visit. And I think they let me hold the baby for a few minutes. I tried nursing, but he didn't want to nurse. So the doctors took him and put him back into the little crib thing. And this was probably 45 minutes to an hour after I just gave birth. And is this alarm seriously going off right now? Okay, there we go. What was I saying? I completely forgot to announce his stats. So 9:45 a.m. on Friday, March 13th, 2015, Levi Ryder Luke was born. He weighed 8 pounds even. He was my biggest baby, and to think that I did that all natural, when I think about it, I feel like since I did that, I can do literally anything. He came out with the blondest little hair ever. He had the most hair, I think, out of all of my kids, but it was so blonde, you could barely even see it. His lips were blue, his arm was blue. He had little things all over him, but he was so perfect. He was so cute, and about half of the people who came to the hospital during my first birth came to this one, which, I mean, it's okay. It is what it is. It's whatever. I do remember that Brett's mom, she was a chef, and she asked me what did I want to eat as my first meal. If you know me in person, you would know that during my pregnancy, I was obsessed with bacon. I think I ate an entire pack of bacon a day. That probably contributed to my weight gain as well, but I was obsessed with it. I don't know why. So I asked her for a BLT, and I think she brought me a BLT from Chili's, and I was trying to eat this BLT after I like just delivered, and it wasn't as appetizing as it sounded. Like all of a sudden I didn't want the bacon anymore, and it was just gross to me. We got to go home 24 hours after he was born, and we didn't make any special stops on the way home like we did with my first birth. We just went straight home. I did not want to take him out in public. So we just went home and we kind of just relaxed. My husband had to be to work the next day, so I was going to be left alone with a newborn and a 1-year-old. And I remember that day was filled with so many tears because I had so many emotions about Bentley not being a first child anymore, and I was scared I wasn't going to be able to have enough time for both of them. I didn't know how I was going to do it, and for a couple weeks it was hard, but we ended up coming up with a really good routine. We got into the hang of things, and my husband actually got a really good job right after my son was born at a car dealership. So we saved up a ton of money really fast, and we moved out into our second apartment together. I forgot to mention that when I was about 4 or 5 weeks postpartum, I had gotten a job at Domino's, and during this time, like transition of having a baby and this new job, I developed postpartum depression and anxiety, and I didn't even know it. I was struggling. I was always crying. I was always sad. I was always down. I always felt lonely, and I was always anxious about everything, like normal day-to-day things like driving or going out in public, anything. I was so nervous and anxious, and it kind of took over my life for a while. It caused a lot of strain in my marriage and my relationship. I didn't even realize that I had postpartum depression and anxiety, so I never saw a doctor for it or anything like that. I never talked to anybody about it. I kind of just bottled it all up and kept it to myself. I remember when my son was about 6 or 7 months old, my relationship went through some issues. I was in a very dark spot with myself, dealing with my weight because I had a hard time losing the baby weight. I had a hard time losing my baby weight, and I was still dealing with the postpartum depression, and I honestly think it was going from postpartum depression just into regular depression, on top of anxiety. So my husband and I ended up splitting up. We separated, and I finished this video just in time because the boys just woke up from their nap. So if you would like to continue getting to know my story, stay tuned for part 3 and part 4. Well, thank you for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Please make sure the little bell notification, either in this corner or this corner below the video, is turned on so you won't miss my next one. Bye.